All right, let's finish up. I'll try to. I feel like the last guy in the relay race. Like I really got to bring us home here. So the big thing in the media world. The big thing in the media world this week, and in political, I suppose, too, because everything is both media and political now, is that Jake Tapper over at CNN wrote a book. It's coming out. I guess it's out this week about Joe Biden's cognitive decline. And I have to say, I think I said this to Phoenix yesterday while we were scrolling Twitter. I was like, I don't know that anyone has been owned on Twitter more consistently and deservingly than Jake Tapper this week, because he's an anchor at CNN that ran cover for Biden's dementia or whatever he has, whether it's Parkinson's or whatever, while the rest of us were talking about it. And somehow he's magically writing a book about it. Right. And we're watching the machine recalibrate right in front of our eyes. Here's a bit from Jake himself.
Jake Tapper here. Alex Thompson from Axios and I wrote a book. It's coming out next Tuesday. It's called Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. The book is drawn from more than 200 interviews with mostly Democratic insiders, almost all of them after the election. And one of the things we were shocked to learn, the White House physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, talked about how if Biden had one more fall, he might actually need to be in a wheelchair. But this was all put off until after the election. They did not want images of Biden in a wheelchair out there. You might recall that Biden started to have problems with a shuffling gait that the administration was very sensitive about. There was a time when they started having people walk with him to Marine One. Those people were there to kind of like hide the fact that his gait was as bad as it was, and also have them there in case he stumbled. The White House would say that this gait issue was because Biden had fallen after the election of 2020, but the truth is that it didn't have to do with that. Dr. O'Connor's medical report said that that injury was completely healed. This had to do with other degenerative problems.
It's just, I don't even need to comment on this because my audience has heard me talk about this a million times, but like, it's just absolutely extraordinary. They told us not to see what we saw in front of our eyes for years. He was part of that cover up. Yep. Now he writes a book pretending that he had nothing to do with it, and that how is that the most shocking thing in the book? That Biden, who looks so unbelievably frail and walks like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, that if he fell, he was going to break a hip? Obviously. Russell, I can't deal with this hypocrisy.
It's disgusting.
I think that he would survive even a brief walk on a golf course working with Sage Steele. I mean, I would have took that guy out. Tapper as well. They should go to a driving range with Sage, is what I think. I think it's outrageous that they would have the audacity as an institution and the members of that particular pantheon come out and tell us, here's why you can trust us again. Sometimes I have this kind of fatigue and PTSD from the COVID time. You know, like even harping back a little to the Kanye situation, I'm more offended that Stephen Colbert dressed up as a vaccine. And then expects us to take him seriously on the subject of the Kennedy than Heil Hitler, because I feel that the book's closed on Hitler, and the book should be closed on Jake Tapper and Jake Tapper's opinions on how the media ran stories about Biden, about COVID, about Kamala, about Trump. Like they should be disbanded, disclosed, shut down, scrapped. It should not receive any commercial funding, any state funding in my country. It should be abandoned, annihilated, shut down, reduced to dust. It should be pulled into 8 root canals and plastic veneers, because a plastic veneer is all it's ever been.
Oh my God.
In case you're not sure how to feel about Jake Tapper after Russell's opus there, here's a video from Tom Elliott on X, a bit of Jake running cover in the past for this obvious condition.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
It's very clearly a cognitive decline. Okay. That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have no. I can't. It's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline. President Biden embraces his stutter, talking about it, while Trump mocks it, exaggerates it, belittles it. He's sharp physically. I mean, mentally. Yeah. I think the question is physically, right?
Right.
More so?
Right.
Right. And the guy who's his chief opponent is only 3 or 4 years younger than him. Exactly. False claims to the Wall Street Journal about President Biden's mental fitness and acuity. He's 81, and his memory, it doesn't seem great. It's not horrible, but I don't understand the outrage. Quote, behind closed doors, Biden shows signs of slipping, unquote. The Wall Street Journal is owned by News Corp, which is run by the Murdochs. Beyond the headline, there is some critical nuance here. The article is mostly based on observations of Republicans, with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy the only one going on the record. The Russians are trying to make us and the public not trust our election integrity. Joe Biden has dementia, all this stuff.
Sage, it goes on and on and on. I assure you we could have done 7 more hours of that. Let me throw it to you first here, because the first clip of that was with Laura Trump, who I know you're good friends with, and I thought she did a perfectly calm, rational explanation of what was going on here. And it's his righteous indignation that seems to be the part that's bothering me, because it's like you have to performatively pretend that what we see is not what we see.
Correct. And to shame her and to say, how do you think that 10-year-old boy who has a stutter feels when you shut the hell up and stop it. Laura Trump, but I texted Laura yesterday and I was like, just wondering, has he ever apologized for that? And she said, publicly, no. I don't know that I would ever expect him to. At the end of the day, that right there, forget about our personal feelings. That is not journalism at all. Be a journalist. And again, the bar is so low. Shame on me for even putting that word in the same sentence as Jake Tapper. Another thing that really stands out to me, because we're all disgusted by this, in the book, he also talks about how he was misled by the Biden White House. Misled?
Right.
Do your effing homework. Do your homework as a journalist. Go do research. And so for him to blame it on the White House, that he was duped and fooled, I'll end on this. Almost exactly 4 years ago, when I was at ESPN, Dave, you know this, we talked about this on your show a year and a half ago. I interviewed Joe Biden, and it was during COVID still, so it was via satellite. It wasn't face-to-face. And I knew then that there was something up. Something wasn't right, okay? And I'm no doctor. It doesn't take a doctor to see cognitive decline. Shame on all of these people, and it goes back to how we began the show. This is another example of why there is zero trust in the mainstream media, and it should never, in my opinion, come back. By the way, what publicist has Jake Tapper hired who gave him the idea to think that writing this book after all these years was a good idea? Idiot.
No, well, the funny part of that is then they dragged Biden out again, what was it, last week, to go back on The View to claim he doesn't have anything wrong with him. And Jill basically has to pick up every sentence. But Jillian, the part of this that I wanted to ask you is a slightly more serious part, which is that we're all we either have been or will be confronted with some cognitive disease in our life, meaning both of my grandmothers had levels of dementia. We all know people that will have it. I suspect it's probably going to increase just relative to phones and attention spans and probably a series of things in the modern world. And I was thinking when Biden was on The View last week, man, if they had just put him up there and they've been honest about it and said, this is going to be one of my last appearances, and because actually there is something going on. Like, what an incredible, teachable, decent moment this thing could have had.
Right.
And instead, they've just decided to go all the other way. And that's actually, I genuinely mean this. It's unfortunate for the country. There was a chance to heal this. They could have said, you know what, we screwed up a little bit. We protected him a bit too much, then been honest about what's going on. And we actually could be healing a little bit, I think. It wouldn't be partisan. Like all the people that make fun of him all the time, it's only because they keep throwing it in our faces.
I think this brings it full circle, though. There is no desire to heal. And we're from this community, from politicians and whoever is pulling the strings and whoever is igniting rage on both sides. And I have to say, Jake Tapper is such a despicable human being. And the reason I feel that way is threefold, and it's all the stuff you touched on. First of all, this isn't news. Thanks, Jake. You've just confirmed it. It's propaganda, which is what all of us have been saying about the legacy media for such a long time and called conspiracy theorists or, woo-woo caucus in my work in Maha. It's like you get attacked and smeared with that brush, and you just showed you I was relying the whole time. And then we shamed all of you who had the nerve to question it, who had eyes and could see that the man was in cognitive decline. But in order to ensure that you don't ask questions, we're going to shame you. We're going to say that you're humiliating children and you're ignorant and you're not a doctor, which is what they always do. It's like, oh, don't Don't question what's going on here. We're going to make sure you look like a complete scumbag, either a homophobe or a racist or a Nazi or apparently somebody who humiliates children with speech impediments. I mean, I just hate this guy. And then to turn around and try to profit off of it. He is disgusting and despicable to me, and I'm on one today. I don't know what the hell is going on, but
Wow.
I I feel passionately that he is everything wrong with the media today, right there in a nutshell.
Russell, I feel like that was sort of like your destruction of MSNBC on Bill Maher that I always bring up. Like that's kind of it, right? Like just stop lying. We could deal with a lot of bullshit. That's the thing. People can be lied to a lot and accept it in a modern society where you have video games and you're able to walk outside. Like people are distracted, but like there is some final red line with bullshit and they always go over the line.
Oh,
That
yeah.
seems to be it to me.
Radically, this is not actually a research situation. It's the using your senses situation. Like if you look with
That's
your
good.
eyes, you go, oh, I think that guy's not very well. It's not like you need to deploy a behavioralist or a scientist or a neurologist to know that. Oh, also, it looks like Hunter Biden might have been taking drugs. But you can't be trusted in a news organization. You're lower than the average person's ability to detect the truth. And you're right. If they're propagandizing something that's so plainly true, what are the things that are a little more obscure, opaque, difficult to discern? They're creating an environment of absolute bewilderment and then denying that they even participated in it. That's almost the audacity of that, like you pointed out, Jillian. It's like a kind of poem. Why would you do that? Why would you then write a book about it? I'm confused and frightened.